What's up, everyone? Vince Ingenito here with IGN. I'm sitting here at Double Helix Studios with Dave.
Hey, what's up, Vince?
What's up, Dave? And Mike.
How's it going?
Doing great, Mike and Dave. What do you guys do over here at Double Helix? What do you guys do for them?
I'm the design director, so sort of work on the gameplay, designing all the characters, and making it all fun.
I'm the lead producer on the project, so I make sure Dave does his job and that we put out the most awesome game that you've ever played.
Cool. Awesome. Well, you guys are doing a pretty good job so far. I liked Killer Instinct quite a bit when I reviewed it for IGN.com, that website that you might have heard of. But today, we're looking at the new character just revealed on your reveal trailer, Spinal. Really exciting, classic character. A lot of people love him. So we're gonna watch some matches and we're gonna dig in with you guys about how he came to be and what kind of typifies his playstyle. So Dave, like first up, if you could describe, like in an overall general sense, like how does Spinal play? What is his style? What does he do?
So I consider him sort of a mix-up character. He can mix you up from different ranges and different types of mix-up. And what we'll see is his mix-up is dependent on whether he has skulls or not. So when he has skulls, he can sort of impart his will in a very strong way.
Cool.
And when he doesn't, he has to sort of rely more on his run and other sort of tricky things to try to build up skulls. So.
Awesome. So how does so are the skulls part of his is that instinct or no?
No. So the skulls are a brand new resource. So this is the first character with his own unique resource.
Oh, very cool.
So Mike, why don't you throw a fireball or two? So here we can see one of the ways. This is called Power Devour. It comes back from the previous game. So this can absorb any special move. So do a wind kick, Mike. Any special move gets absorbed and I get skulls. And once I have the skulls, I can use them in a variety of ways. The most obvious ways are the fireballs. And here you'll see some of his mix-up potential. He's got a low fireball, which
nice.
you have to block low.
Oh, so you have to block that low. So it's a ranged low.
I was walking back, and that's a mistake if I see this fireball coming. If I'm going to get hit with a low. I'm going to have to block low.
And it's so slow. He can follow that up really easily.
Yeah. And then the other part of that mix-up is he's got the overhead fireball.
Oh, my God.
So, and then the third fireball he's got is the medium. And this is sort of the average fireball, but what's great about it is it's plus on block. So you can sort of do little frame traps off of it.
Sure. Like so at point blank range, you mean it's plus on block.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is pretty rare for projectiles.
Yeah.
Usually they're very minus up close.
You know, you can follow it up with combos and stuff.
So that's a good. That'll probably be a really good meaty then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. So all right. So anything else you can do with the skull resource, or is it just the fireballs?
Absolutely. There's something really cool. So Spinal's got a couple special moves, which we'll go into in a bit. But when you have skulls, the heavy version of it, whether it's punch or kick, will gain a unique property when you have skulls. So it gives them even more utility. And my favorite one is the back teleport, which is the heavy kick teleport. When you do it and you have a skull, you can cancel the end of the teleport recovery into another special. So for people who aren't as familiar with that, what it basically does is it makes moves better. Your teleport becomes even better when you have skulls.
Sure, that's sick, because usually a lot of the times a teleport's utility is based almost entirely on whether or not you can create a situation where they're already going to want to block or where they're already kind of locked down. But this makes it so that you can basically use the teleport willy-nilly as an offensive tool, because you can go right into a special.
Yeah.
And also, I think, God, he has teleports. Teleport with a slow projectile like that is so strong.
Like
the mix-up possibilities are so huge.
He's got a lot of fun stuff.
So what are some of his other specials that don't revolve around the skulls?
Yeah. So he's got the Soul Sword, which is his sort of, it's a great linker, great opener. It's got overhead, it's upper body invulnerable. So great move. He's got the shoulder move, his charge, which is also serves as an opener, a linker. What's great about it is the shadow version is thrown vulnerable, so lots of cool stuff you can do there.
Sweet, nice.
There is an ender which will wall splat.
Right,
you can go into a throw. As you see, when you throw with Spinal, you actually get a skull. So his throws have a very neat benefit. Plus, the back throw gives you a ton of positive frames, so you can do neat setups like back throw into overhead fireball. Into low.
Yeah, the setups look ridiculous.
Yeah,
now, from the trailer, I think did I spy? So this guy's got slow, like high mid projectile mix-ups. He's got teleport mix-ups, which Marvel players are going to love the self-contained fireball teleport mix-up. That's amazing. But I think I saw something else that a lot of Marvel players and Street Fighter players like, and that's He's got a dive kick, does he not?
Yeah, he does.
So tell me about that.
Sort of like the dart kick in 2. He's got a dive kick that comes back. So I think with Spinal, we didn't want the dive kick to sort of be his mainstay, right? It's sort of a utility, so we didn't want it to become his one move. So,
right. You didn't want him to become Rufus. You didn't want a Rufus Spinal.
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly. So with that in mind, we did make it super, super good. What it provides good mix-up when you're jumping back. You can sneak it in every now and then. Rich uses it really well against people who throw a lot. You just jump up.
Sure, yeah, that's the Rufus. That's the Rufus.
Exactly.
Like you put them in a situation where they think they can throw you, and then you just jump and dive kick.
Yeah, exactly. But what happens is if Mike blocks this, you can see that he's going to punish me quite readily. Like I was trying to block, I was trying to tech. You're so negative that you're going to get hurt if it gets blocked.
That's good.
On hit, you'll get a nice combo. So it's, it follows sort of the KI theme. There's a ton of risk, but there's a ton of potential reward on this move.
No, that's good too, and I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me about Killer Instinct after playing a lot of Marvel on the tournament level. Like there's so few of the offensive options, and there's a lot of good offensive options in Marvel. So few of them are punishable in a very legitimate way. And this is a little more traditional in the Street Fighter vein, where there's a lot of moves that it's a big risk. You're kind of betting it, and if the person makes a good read and blocks it, then they're going to get something for it. And I like that because I think that's just a more balanced way of handling offense and defense. And I think for a wider range of players too, that's just kind of more what they're used to and more what feels fair and right. So what's that run move? I just saw the run. Like, what's that about?
Well, one of the big and really unique things when you sit down and play him, and this is why he's a really unique and technical character, is his movement speed, his normal movement speed, outside of what you just saw. He has basically a run. So he's actually really slow.
Yeah, his walk speed looks like
his walk speed is really slow
rough.
Forwards and backwards, but he has all this utility to make up for that for getting around it. So using combinations of the dive kick, the teleports, and the run, you can build a lot of his offense.
Yeah, that's really neat. Does he have? So it seems like he's got a lot of offensive potential because of all these mix-ups and a dive kick and projectiles to kind of control space on the screen. What about his defensive options? Like if he gets knocked down, like what's a really good option for him?
So he's got shadow versions of the teleport. And I believe you can't be thrown out of that one, correct, Dave?
Correct.
So that one is actually a pretty powerful option. Also just teleporting straight back. It can be thrown, but it puts you in different... the spacing is character relative to the screen. So you can either teleport in front of them, behind them, or just outside of range. And that'll help set up a lot of his normal attacks.
Sweet.
And then he also has the Searing Sword move, which is also upper body invulnerable. Your options also change when you have skulls. So I can't remember if you said this before, Dave, but if you have skulls and you do the Shield Bash move, with the skull it actually becomes projectile invulnerable as well.
Okay, nice.
So he's got a lot of utility to get through things. And then also just using the Power Devourer itself will just eat up a ton of special attacks.
Cool. And now I understand that he also has a way to drain resources from his opponents. So talk to me about that, because that's very unique. Not too many characters in any fighting game have abilities like that. So.
So each one of his projectiles actually causes what we call a curse. So here I'm going to hit Mike with just the standard fireball, and you'll see he's got this blue orb around him now.
Okay.
So what that's doing is it's draining his shadow meter and giving it to me.
Oh, cool.
And the more skulls you get, the faster the drain rate. So like there's combos that you can do that have like 3 or 4 skulls that get stacked on you. Your shadow meter basally just depletes, and you just see it sucking down. It's super cool.
That's awesome. And it seems like it would also have some degree of defensive utility too, because in a roundabout way, because if people are always short on resources, I feel like that means they're going to want to do battery enders a little bit more, which is the opportunity cost. They can't do a damage ender.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So that's very, very, very neat.
And Mike, if you want to block for just a second, I'll show you the other curse that he's got, which is really cool. So now don't block, and now
You beat me up a little bit.
Okay.
Because what I want to do is I want to get some meter. I want to get some instinct meter real quick. I want to have all my resources kind of up there. All right. So go ahead, Dave, and go ahead and hit me with the big curse.
So this is the Shadow Searing Skull, and now you see his instinct meters flashing. I'm
Oh, yeah.
literally draining his instinct meter and
my
giving it to
God.
myself.
So what that does,
Train instinct.
what that does is it prevents me from going into instinct. So
Right.
even if he doesn't stack it, and this one stacks up to 3 times, it's possible to stack that one 3 times, and the normal skull version up to 5 times. So what it does is it prevents me from going into instinct, just
and-
straight up.
and
Even
that's
if it does a
huge.
little drain or a bigger drain when it's stacked.
Right.
So it's a big way of removing people's utility.
Sure, I mean, like, Sadira is a nightmare in instinct mode, and like, I could see that matchup going a lot differently now with a character like this in the pool who can completely negate that that advantage for her.
Yeah, so a lot of Spinal strengths comes from getting a hard knockdown and starting the mix-ups and then trying to add as many curses as possible.
That's really,
And
really
those
cool.
curses will carry over in between rounds. So it's very... part of his strategy is, like, if he has skulls available, when do I want to use them? Or when do I want to use specific enders, forego damage, and get specific enders to get more skulls?
That's awesome. I really love what I'm seeing. So one more thing I wanted to ask about, does Spinal have kind of like I believe he has a unique combo mechanic like some of the other characters do? Like Jago has the around the world with the, with the autos. What does Spinal have going?
Yeah, Spinal's got what we call Spectral Doubles. So basically, I'll show that off here. It's that third hit where he uses his spectral arm that you see in the throws. And what it does is it's basically an easy manual. Think of it that way.
Oh, okay.
So if you're doing, let's say, a medium kick double, which I was doing here, if you hit it again, you get that third hit. So it's basically an easy manual, and then you can continue off a linker of it. So it's a great way to get a little extra damage, to throw people's timing off. The one negative is you have to use the same power level that you did. So if you did let's say a heavy auto double, you have to use a heavy spectral double.
Which means you're also effectively giving them a little bit more time to react to what double you're doing and possibly break it.
Exactly. So that's the trade-off. You get a little better damage. There's just a chance to get the lockout, but it's easier to break if they're ready for it.
But it also means it's easier to bait them into a breaker and get a counter breaker as well.
You can
so that's
definitely
awesome.
counter breaker those, which are a lot of fun. Sort of you set it up, and then right when Mike goes for the break, you go for the counter breaker.
you tricky dude, Mike. But yeah, if I can switch gears real quick just to this stage is beautiful, and like I think that what the trailer really showed is that you guys are trying to start to tell a little bit of a story, it seems like, with Spinal. Is that the case?
Well, just like with all of our characters, we're trying to tell their story within their stages and backgrounds.
Sure.
So I'm not going to reveal everything today, but a lot of Spinal's story has to do with his curse and why he actually still exists.
Okay.
And his is a story that it exists across time, which is super unique to everybody. Where he's this like basically almost like a shark that's out throughout time.
A time shark?
Time shark.
Confirmed. Spinal is a time shark.
Confirmed for the Sci-Fi
IGN
Channel.
exclusive.
He's just big and scary, and there's something out there that he desperately wants, and he's trying to get.
Okay.
And so he'll go through all the combatants to get it.
Little mystery. I like that. And then just the last thing I was saying to you guys before, I'm an old school Killer Instinct fan, but I did not like Spinal's old look. I just didn't like it. Even back then when I was playing it in arcades, I did not like how he looked. So I was expecting to be underwhelmed when I saw Spinal, in motion. And my God, I think he might be the best looking character in this version. Tell me a little bit about how you updated his look.
Well, he's absolutely fantastic. So for us, it's our methodology and the way that our pipeline works. It's all about identifying what is the root of the character, what are our key reads, and how do we modernize those in the same ways that like Rare borrowed from the modern culture at the time, like that borrowed equity. So we looked at like how do we take this awesome figure who's basically somewhat of a Viking pirate and everything else throughout time, and how do we modernize him, and like how do we add those elements of black magic and those really dark, sinister parts of like his
like
backstory.
The shield, like the shield looks like something straight out of an H.P. Lovecraft book. So like, whose idea was that?
Oh man, I was a.
You're supposed to say yours, Mike. It was mine. It was all me from the beginning.
I can't take. Well, there was very specific things that we wanted to do with the shield, but I think this actual design came from one of our concept artists, Adam Richards, and he just had a really cool idea, and we could see it like basically come to life. We're like, oh, that's going to be so cool when we animate it and have all the curses come off of it. So it's part of what adds to his character, just that depth. And so whether it's like his stage is basically like a shipwreck, and kind of so is he. You see all these parts and pieces that he's accumulated over time that have become part of his garb.
Yeah, like almost like trophies.
Like very much so, as his conquests of the seas as he pursues this relic that he's searching for.
All right, so tell me a little bit about Spinal's Instinct mode, because he seems to have all these options already without even talking about Instinct mode, and it's always added an interesting kind of new mechanic for all the other characters. So what is his thing?
So Spinal's Instinct mode grants him full skulls immediately on activation, and
Wow.
it allows him to regen a skull every 2 seconds for the whole Instinct mode. So what we thought is, hey man, this guy is so much fun when he's got skulls, but you've always got to sort of be careful about it when you have skulls, right? You got to be cautious. You don't want to waste all your resources.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do with Instinct mode was basically go, okay, here's your chance to just go ham. You know, just throw all the skulls you want, teleport all you want, really go crazy and do the mix-up. So, and it also just makes him look like we really play up that spectral bent that Mike was talking about. So let me just use it here.
Yeah, let's see it. Oh my god, he looks like such a terrorist too, because with a skull he can cancel his teleport into his special, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I can see like normally you'd have to use like some of these mix-ups really sparingly, but I can see you just mixing up into mix-up into mix-up into mix-up like all day. How long does his instinct last? It seemed like it was fairly long.
His instinct is standard 15 seconds, like all the other characters.
Okay.
But the really unique thing is because of the way his curses work, he can actually extend the length of his instinct mode. So he's a real bastard.
Oh, that's right, because he can drain the instinct meter. So if you keep stacking that curse, then he can just keep getting it back.
Basically, he's power hungry, so he's just going to keep just basically sucking you dry for every resource that you have if he can.
Is that going to lead to some crazy ultras?
Well, it leads to instinct mode lasting. Like Rich has a 3 instinct combo.
I was going to say, yeah.
where you get 3 curses in, and you can basically keep your instinct mode going as long as you don't get hit. One thing we didn't mention was that if you get hit, the curses go away.
Wow, that's sick. Well, thanks a lot, Dave, for answering my questions about that, and for everything about Spinal, be sure to keep it locked right here to IGN.